All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wonderful people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, and once again, you're welcome to this wonderful YouTube platform that promises to give you all the whole information happening in Biafraland territory. This is today is the 22nd of December, and today is a wonderful Sunday. Yes, they go zoom for this side, but a lot of things are happening in Biafraland territory. Yes, and plenty matter waiting for us to talk about today, and you'll be shocked, when you hear some of these matters. If you don't hear some of them, why some you never still hear, because a lot they happen within this festive period. But in everything, we will say, we always give God the glory, because last Omuchineke will continue to celebrate. Yes, Biafrans all over the world will be the ones to laugh at the end. Yes, and victory is assured, and that is the most important thing. So on the first news we're going to draw for you today, and then we're going to back them up with plenty confirmatory video. We're going to give you the clarity of as it take happen. Charles Soludo na Solonde afufo nandi peya nandi osi nandi apari. Yes, Charles Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, has decided, or he has made his primary concern, to be against Biafra. So this Soludo administration, what it only cares about is against everything that will fight Biafra. And because of the way he is, Soludo use corner to become governor by finding a way to steal the heart of the people. I remember when Charles Soludo, before he became governor of Anambra State, he was talking as if he's one kind messiah, that we do the best and that we do the needful. We didn't know that guy is a devil's incarnate, honestly speaking, because Charles Soludo, has always been a rebellious person. Let's be realistic about this whole thing. That is why Charles Soludo will claim to visit Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Then at the end, he will still come out and say there is no point releasing Nnamdi Kanu, because releasing Nnamdi Kanu will not stop the insecurity. That was the only thing. People were holding on to, at least to facilitate the immediate release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But he countered it. Whether in support or not, I want you to understand why I will always have issue with people who are rebellious in nature. He countered it. It was the first thing he countered. Yes, he countered it. There's no point releasing Nnamdi Kanu. That releasing Nnamdi Kanu will not stop the insecurity in southeastern part of the country. Who knows? Maybe Nnamdi Kanu would have been released if not for that statement. And yet he went back. That was after he finished. He visited Nnamdi Kanu again. Now the big question is, why is Charles Soludo major target or aim be against Biafra, fighting against Biafra? He wants to stop the sit at home by fire, by force, no matter what it will take. Let us go into the news today, so that you will see the kind of person, rebellious person Charles Soludo is.
As also necessary. And pin down, stop and search operations as also necessary. You know somebody who is involved in enforcing sit at home in your community, tell us. We'll come and pick him out. If you know somebody who is part of this criminal thing, but he comes in the village and moves around, call 5111 and we'll give you other numbers and tell us. We will come and pick him out so that your people.
In the breaking news, Soludo acquires 163 Hilux vehicle for Janjaweed terrorist army for them to fight the Biafra Liberation Army in the old Anambra. Here the news in details. Wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world, you are welcome once again to Biafra Unite channel / television this very moment. Today's date is 20th of December 2024, and I have video clip and of course a very important information for every one of you listening to my voice right now from where you are all over the world. Dear friends and lovers of freedom, I want you to pay very good attention to this very news, because it's very, very important. I can assure you, my people, the illegitimate governor of the old Anambra state, Soludo, has announced in the public on a national, so-called national television, that he has acquired 163 Hilux vehicle for the Janjaweed terrorist army, only for them to come and fight the Biafra Liberation Army. Now, before playing the video for you, I also want to remind you his comment just 2 days ago, where he said that Nnamdi Kanu's release may not end insecurity in Southeast Anambra Governor Soludo. This is from Vanguard News. And there's a reason he said so. Ndị Igbo sị na orue na ọgụ ụnọ asị jide dike ka egbuo, mana eruzie na ọgụ ama achọba dike. When they gathered at the Lions Building, Enugu, and they issued a communique, which was read by Hopeless Uzodinjo. I told you, those of you listening to me will bear me witness in the comment section. I told you that this is a charade, that they are not serious. I also pinpointed the body language of Hopeless Uzodinjo and the way he laughed when he made that comment. I told you that this is not serious. And I told you, just watch out. I also made a comment the time I told the Prime Minister that these people gathered for a secret meeting, and they said, we are going to talk less and do more. We will do more and talk less. And since then, they have been looking for a way to get hold of you, the Prime Minister. And he told me that he's aware. I made this comment in the public as well. Now, Soludo has finally found his voice, and now he has realized that if Nnamdi Kanu is released, then insecurity may not end in the place they call Southeast. Have you seen it? These are the same people that have been pretending, championing the release of Nnamdi Kanu via political solution. And where are they today? They are now telling the Fulani government of the zoo that is holding Nnamdi Kanu in captive that, look, if you release this man, we are not guaranteeing you, the end of insecurity in the Southeast. Now he's talking. And if you go down, according to this evil man called Soludo, he said, Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, has expressed concerns that the release of Nnamdi Kanu, the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, may not resolve the insecurity in the Southeast region. Speaking at a press briefing at the governor's lodge in Anambra State on Tuesday, Soludo acknowledged that Kanu has been in the custody of the Department of State Services DSS since his since his extraordinary rendition from Kenya in June 2021, where he faces charges of treasonable felony. Now, what am I trying to say here? Soludo and the rest have been pretending to fight for the release of Nnamdi Kanu just because of the activities, the doggedness, the relentless push, the relentless pressure that has been mounted on them from the Prime Minister of the BLG, and of course, the Biafra Liberation Army and our seat at home. Right? That is the reason why they have been trying to camouflage, pretending that they are, making moves for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now that they think that Naka Balogo Mazi Samonepa, and they forgot that Europe and Africa is not the same. They forgot that Finland and the zoo called Nigeria are not the same. Now, without further ado, let me play the video for you, and I want you to pay very good attention to what this idiotic man has to say.
Let's discuss security for a bit, and then maybe we'll dovetail to pension. It doesn't sound quite the same in security, or if you like, insecurity in the state. Some residents, for example, have declared out of that 15 out of the 21 local government areas as being insecure. And I've actually asked you, the governor, to declare a state of emergency in those areas. 15 is quite a high number.
Well, I don't know who is I don't know who is stated, and the numbers that anybody, of course, is there insecurity in Nigeria? Of course, the answer is yes. Do we have some insecurity here in Anambra, challenge here? Of course, this is a fact. Actually, today, which is quite interesting, it's quite interesting that you had asked for us to talk yesterday. It didn't work, and you said shifted it today. But actually today, it's coincidental that today is the 33rd month that I have been in office. This is my 33rd anniversary here. Actually, when I arrived, before I arrived in this chair, 8 local governments were under total siege by the hoodlums, taking over these entire places. As candidates, none of us could campaign freely anywhere, in those 8 local governments. In fact, a governorship candidate then was abducted while he was driving on his convoy. They stopped him and picked him. Until today, he hasn't been seen. Even myself, I was attacked in my village while I was addressing youths and so on. Left 3, they came there to take me out. Killed 3 policemen instantly on the spot, and went away with somebody that they thought was myself, as it were. So we were, even in my own local government, the day of my campaign there, that day was hell, so to speak. The kind of shooting that was rampant almost on daily basis. That's the context in which we assumed office, and we declared a war on these criminals. And I want to say that these 8 local governments are largely liberated, substantially. Largely liberated. Ihiala remains a very dark spot, and Orumba south, but we're all relenting as we speak. We have 4 free on board camps. Soldiers, police, navy, our vigilante, and so on. 4 groups of them, massively combine that local government. So when somebody says 15, so today, then, I had the opportunity to address the Anambra people on what we consider to be the next step, the next level in terms of our fight against these hoodlums, and as a prelude to what we're going to be launching after January, what we call Operation Ŵèapons. We have about 163 vehicles we are rolling out.
Did you hear him? He said that he has about 163 vehicles that they are rolling out to match the Biafra Liberation Army. I will say something, but let's continue watching. I will say something at the very end of this video. So I want you to pay attention and, of course, listen to what I have to say. Let's continue.
Massively deploying our vigilante service, what we call Operation Ŵèapons. We have about 163 vehicles we are rolling out. We're massively deploying our vigilante service to work in, and of course, I won't discuss the full details of this kinetic onslaught.
These vigilante that he's talking about are all criminals. They are the ones in charge of the kidnappings. They are the ones in charge of, all the criminal activities, including robbery. We have evidences, we have videos, and of course, pictorial evidences where Soludo's AVG, Anambra Vigilante Group, were caught red-handed kidnapping people and robbing them at the same time. We have all these videos and evidences about what I'm just talking about. But Soludo never made any comment about it till today. You will continue to arm these criminals in the name of vigilante groups while they continue to cause havoc and engage in criminal activities in the old Anambra state. At the end, we'll see who is going to cry for this error. Let's continue.
Against these people. And when we launch, we will also be coming up with non-force, non-brute force measures that we're also putting in place to ensure that, you see, we are facing a very unique kind of criminality where agitation, some mixture of agitation and what ideology has created an environment in which the security officers, the security agencies are being seen as the enemies and the criminals being seen as the liberators.
But that is how it is. It is only people like you, Chukuma Solunketa Nafulani. Only people like you do not see the handwriting on the wall. Because only people like you, Soludo, let me call you by your name. Only people like you, Hope Uzodinjo and Co, are the only people that do not see the criminality of the Zoo Janjaweed terrorist army and its police. Because that is exactly what is happening. You don't see the criminality of your police and your army. But the people have seen it. So Lunketa, I want you to know that the people have seen it. That is the reason why they can never ever associate themselves with these terrorists in military and police uniform. Rather, they see the Biafra Liberation Army as their security, their authentic security men. That is the stage where we are right now. In case you don't know, let me tell you from today.
That's a very deadly combination. Right. And that is the kind of thing that we are fighting. But we're determined to cleanse them off and make Anambra the safest state in the country. Good. So anybody, social media, people throw up all kinds of things. They sit in their home and make their own assessment. And but that's okay.
Yeah, that's why you're here.
We have rolled our sleeves.
That's why you're here.
That's why we're not relenting anywhere. Yeah.
All right.
So my people, you have heard from Soludo. They are not relenting. They are not relenting. They are seriously preparing themselves in 2025 to carry out this onslaught against innocent Biafrans and, of course, the Biafra Liberation Army. So my own job is what I'm doing right now. My own job is when I get this kind of information, I will bring it to your notice, because I know that many of you Biafrans do not have time to watch this so-called mainstream media of the Zoological Republic of Animal Kingdom. You have no time for them, because everything they bring out to the public is all about junk stories, and of course propaganda, lies and deceit. Ifejuemalu Zoological Republic. So you don't have their time. But when you come to Biafra Unite, you listen to news, authentic news concerning Biafra. So my own job is to bring it to your doorsteps, and your own job is to support the fight for total liberation of Biafra from the Zoological Republic. That is your own job, is to support. So my people, Biafra Liberation Army General Commander Ŵèapons threatens to take over power, gives ultimatum to BLGIE officials. Hear the news in details. Wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world, you are welcome once again to Biafra Unite channel /television this very moment. Today's date is 19th of December 2024, and I have breaking information for every one of you listening to my voice right now from wherever you are all over the world. Dear friends and lovers of freedom, this is so emotional, and I want you to pay very good attention to this very news, because it's very, very, very important. I can assure you, my people. The General Commander of the Biafra Defense Forces, General Ŵèapons, has come out in the public and threatened to take over power as he gives ultimatum to the Błáćķ officials. I'm going to read this very news in details, and I want everybody to pay attention to it. And after reading the news, I will give my own suggestion and opinion. I want you to know that what is going on right now is nowhere favorable to a common Biafran. I want you to know this. And those that have the interests of our people at heart, those that believe in the freedom of our people, those that want our people to remain law-abiding citizens of Biafra nation, and those that know the importance of security and defense of Biafra must not joke with this very information. So please, all Biafrans should pay attention while I read in details, and after this, I will give my own opinion. Now, 18th December 2024, memo to all ministers and continental representatives. Mandate for conflict resolution. The BDC, which means the Biafra Defense Council, has mandated the Conflict Resolution Committee, CRC, to organize an emergency cabinet meeting involving all elected ministers and continental representatives of the Biafra Republic Government in exile, Błáćķ. Objective and purpose. The purpose of this meeting is to chart a pathway forward. Pending the return of the Prime Minister, Ambassador Simon Ekpa, the discussions must adhere to the guidelines set forth in the Biafra Charter. You know, whenever Biafra Charter is mentioned, they umama for everybody, because this has nothing to do with Biafra Unite. I want to be very, very specific here. Now, there's a deadline and consequences. There is a deadline of 14 working days for this meeting to occur, starting from this day, 19th of December 2024 to the 7th of January 2025. He said, if this meeting does not happen within this time frame, the BDC, Biafra Defense Council, will approve the transfer of power to the Biafra Defense Forces, BDF. Let me take this last part again. The BDC, let me start from here. If this meeting does not happen within this time frame, the BDC, Biafra Defense Council, will approve the transfer of power to the Biafra Defense Forces, BDF. Signed, General Igwe Butuzo, 19th December 2024. Now, those of you who don't have reasoning capacity or mental toughness will not understand the meaning of this very memo. I'm going to explain it to you before giving my opinion. The person who signed this very memo is the General Commander of the Biafra Liberation Army, the Biafra Defense Forces. Not only Biafra Liberation Army, but the entire Biafra Armed Forces. Now, that means that this is very, very serious. And do you know the meaning of this? This is a sign, a warning of coup d'etat. Now that we have a government and Biafra has been redeclared, it's going to be a sin, a calamity that from the beginning of the sovereign state of Biafra, and then we fall into the hands of the military men. Because these are our military, even though they haven't, been recognized by the world as the Biafran army. But we all know, in reality, that the BDF, as it stands today, is the Biafra army. We, the Biafran people, know that. Now, if peradventure, from the beginning of Biafra, I'm talking about based on reality on ground. I'm not talking about what is happening in abroad, because whoever that is going to recognize Biafra will also know what is going on ground. If from the beginning of this sovereignty, the leadership falls into the hands of our military, meaning that we are under military rule, I don't think that this is going to give us a good name. Please, those top individuals in the Biafra government, pay attention to this. Whether you are on the side of Dr. Ngozi Orabueze or you are on the side of Ogenkere, wherever you belong, I don't want to know, please. If you have the Biafrans at heart and our freedom, you must not allow the power to go to the military. If we ever go through this and fall into the hands of our army, Biafra will become autocratic nation. From the beginning, from the beginning, if Biafra eventually falls into the hands of our military, we are finished. Everywhere will not just be militarized, but also there will be arms everywhere in the hands of people who are not supposed to be in charge of the government. The arms will be in the hands of those who are not supposed to be in charge of government. So we must not allow this coup d'etat to happen. Please, I am begging once again. I am begging Dr. Ngozi Orabueze, please do the needful. I am begging those on the side of Ogenkere, please do the needful. Bikono. You must not allow this to happen. Do not allow the Biafra army, even when we are still struggling to fully liberate ourselves from the zoo. Now the Biafra military are already in charge. Some of you may be in abroad doing your own. But those who you want them to recognize you as a sovereign nation will equally know what is going on in your homeland, where they want to recognize. And by the time they realize that the power is actually in the military, in the hands of the army, and nobody is controlling the military, if your government fails to be in the control of the armed forces, you are doomed. No nation will recognize you. I want you to write today's date somewhere so that you remember this broadcast. Today's date is 19th of December, 2024. If this coup d'etat happens, this is the original coup d'etat, not the propaganda that is flying on social media. Not the propaganda that is flying on social media. Nke Ngozi Orabueze jikwa chọọ ime coup d'etat, nke o jikwa onwe deputy prime minister, nke Ogenkere jikwa chọọ ime coup d'etat, nke Ogenkere jikwa wee chọọ ịbụzi the leader. I don't pay attention to these things. I'm talking about what is happening on ground. Bikono ono nwa bụ ndị nọ n'isi na government. Aka m apụgokwa anọzikwa m there, anọzi n'isi, because we now have a government. If it's in those days when Biafra movement was solely in the hands of the media persons like me and others, then things would have been not the way it is right now. But for the fact that we now have a government, government here, I am calling all of you, please do not allow this to happen. And don't think that you are going to fight these men. You cannot fight these men. The Zoo Janjaweed army, who are more equipped, have been fighting them over the years, but they have not been able to conquer. Don't think you will fight these men. Do not fight these men. And even though you close down the chapter of funding them, I want you now to see the danger ahead. Anything that makes you to block or stop a way of funding these people, our land is gone. Because these people are already armed. Everything is in their hands. All the arms and weapons are in their possession. So if you stop a way of funding them, what do you think that is going to happen? There will be crime in our land, and we cannot allow that to happen. This is a lone voice from the wilderness, shouting and crying every day for our people. If you ever stop funding these people, While they are still in the possession of these, dangerous weapons, there will be crime. And you must not allow this to happen. Please, this is the danger ahead. Don't think that it contribute to more send the fego, then they will fizzle out. Don't you ever think that. Don't reason like that. These people cannot allow themselves to be captured by the zoo. They will do everything they could. I'm just emphasizing, it's like a prophecy, because this is what I have seen already. And if care is not taken, it might happen. But God forbid that it happens. Bikono, turn away. This is where the danger lies. Find a way to resolve this. I am shouting on top of my voice from the wilderness. Find a way to resolve this. If these people lack fund, you don't know what is going to happen in the nearest future. Remember, they already know where to buy the granite. Don't allow this to escalate. PM Potakwa, I will present all my broadcasts and activities to him. Akam Dukwanocha. I'm begging everybody now, do the needful on time. Do the needful on time. The earlier the better. Andy, I also want to use this opportunity to appeal to the Biafra Defense Forces, the Biafra Liberation Army, the Biafra Resistance Fighters, especially those in the highest position, the high command of the Biafra Liberation Army and BDF in general. I want to use this opportunity to appeal to all of you involved. Please, do not meddle into the politics of Biafra. You see this government? Leave whatever they are doing alone, please. You have one focus, because we cannot afford our defense to be distracted. You all have seen how Musa is boasting. I have another video that I will be posting after this one. How the Zoo Janjaweed terrorists invaded our land just 2 days ago. I'll be posting it after this very one.